Hi, everybody. My name is Eddie Dacius. I'm the host of the Handshake podcast, and we have Era Dodalian with us today. And we're excited to have him because he will tell us about his background. I think his dad is a locksmith, and I think he has a lot to tell us about his journey. Era, welcome to the show.
Eddie, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, so just to talk a little bit about myself, my father owns a small shop in Worcester, Mass, called Joseph's Lock and Safe Company. Um, I grew up there as a child. I remember as a little kid, he'd give me $5 on a Saturday just to go down to the store and hang out with him. And
Wow.
I'd go around the store and I'd clean up all the brass clippings and the
From the
guys would all
kids,
know I
right?
was there because I'd mess up the pin kits and I like to play with everything. But yeah, my father would give me $5 every Saturday to go down there and just hang out with him. Um, my grandfather actually started the business. It started more as a saw sharpening company, and then it just kept evolving. And my father kind of just stayed with the trends and built it to what it is today. And today they have huge contracts. I mean, they have contracts with USPS, they have contracts with Walmart, they have contracts with, massive property management companies, Beacon, Mycozy, um, and just really, really big property management companies. They do a lot of card access systems, a lot of handicap door operators. Um, and as you know in the industry, like you kind of have to just evolve with the industry. You know,
Yeah.
people hear locksmith and they think, oh, he just cuts keys all day, and
Yeah. You're
but
right. They
you and
do
I
that.
both know that's the furthest thing from the truth. Um, but I grew up. I played soccer my whole life. I went to school. I went to college. And I always just thought, I said, oh, I got to go work for my father. It's what I have to do. So
Yeah.
went and worked for my father. I was like I don't know. I think I started working there, like actually working there. I think maybe I was like 17, 18 years old. Worked there through college and whatnot. Um, and I did everything. I did everything from waiting on the customers to, putting together big orders, pinning, master keying. We dealt with Medico, Keymark.
Yeah.
I did everything. I mean, I pinned everything. I cut everything. I built master key systems with HPC software.
Yeah.
I've done it all, man. Like I make a joke. Like I worked for my father for about 12 to 14 years full time. And I would say I did everything from the hiring and the firing to cleaning the toilets. You know,
Yeah.
something my father taught me when, when I first started working there was, if you want to be able to run this place and have all these guys underneath you and, you got to be able to wear every single hat, even if that means you're on your hands and your knees scrubbing the toilet on a Friday, you know?
You no, you're right, and I think I like where you're going with this because I teach locksmith at a trade school for 4 years. I was the department head as an instructor, and one thing I see that you don't see that where there is the legacy in the locksmith industry. You don't see that much. Can you talk about what that meant for you and is that help you with any
Yeah,
transferable skills?
absolutely. So, um, you know, I, again, I worked there, full time, 12, 14 years. Did everything from X, Y, and Z. I did the hiring, the firing, the payroll. I paid the vendors. I did our banking. I managed the guys, how many jobs they were doing every day, which jobs they were doing every day. And, we also had a large retail showroom where we had probably over 100 safes in our showroom.
Okay.
Um, so safe sales was a big thing for us, for commercial and residential. Um, but really, what that allowed me to do was build relationships. And that's really what's helped me further my career is my organic network within the Central Mass area is so large. and I have nobody to thank for that except Joseph's Lock and Safe.
Mm.
I worked there forever. My father's like a staple in the city. He really is. Everyone knows him. Everyone knows his business. Everyone knows his building. Um, and because of that and me working there every single day, I started to just build my own relationships with other business owners and restaurant owners, um, to the point where these guys trust me. I mean, you're in these guys' houses, you're in their business, you're putting safes in, you're going and changing safe combinations. You build a certain level of trust and a certain relationships with some of these guys. These are relationships that could last you a lifetime, that can, also just be very fruitful as well. Um, so for me, I worked for my father for so long, and I wanted more.
Oh,
And this is his baby. He built this literally from the ground up. He wasn't ready to let go or do anything like that. So we had a small falling out, and I went and got my first sales job. Um, and I was selling commercial insurance for a local Worcester mom and pop insurance shop here in the city. And a couple years later, I got recruited by a bigger shop, and then that shop bought the shop. Another bigger shop bought the shop that I was working for. Um, and I,
good for you, right?
yeah, and at one point I was working for the number three broker in the world,
Yeah.
which is Arthur J. Gallagher. And I am now with Cross Insurance. We actually insure the Patriots. We insure Gillette
Yeah,
Stadium
I know. I saw your logo every time.
everywhere. Yeah, it's all
Big.
over. It's all over Gillette. But what the locksmithing industry and working for my father really did for me was build all those relationships, build those trustworthy relationships where,
Yeah.
now I'm going to these guys that own restaurants, these guys that own, hundreds and hundreds of income units, rental units. I got a guy who has, 20, 30 3-deckers all over the city of Worcester. Um,
Mm.
that I've built relationships with,
Yeah.
because of the locksmith industry, that I can now call on to make sales to, further the career that I'm in now.
Yeah. But let's get to this. I think you mentioned this a little bit. If you don't mind talking about it, you said
Yeah.
there was a fallout between you and your dad. I feel like um there's a vision issue where yes, it worked for many years, especially like you mentioned, that's their babies, but they are hard to adapt
Yes.
and I've talk about it. So if
Um,
that would be great, man, if you can.
yeah, sure. You know, if for him, if I tried to bring something new to the table, or I don't know, say like a different access control platform,
Yeah.
or I don't know, a different handicap door operator, like when Norton first came out with those ADEZ operators.
Yes.
My father wanted nothing to do with them and whatever. And I wanted to grow. When I was there, we had 4 guys in the shop, 4 guys on the road. Uh, it, he was doing well, really, really well. Since then, it's downsized a lot. Harder to find help. COVID played a big role.
Yeah.
But just, for him, he right now he's 70. So, I was there, 6 years ago was the last time I was there working. So he was what, 64? He was just kind of, I don't want to say stuck in his ways, but I mean, he felt like he built the business. It was a very
Yes.
successful business, and he did it. And, you
It
know,
did. And it worked.
yeah,
It
and
worked.
it worked exactly. And I think he just probably felt like you can't knock anything that I did. Like I did it the right way. Um,
But
so
Era, let's get a little bit, let's shift a little bit on this because
yeah,
that's what my newsletter is about, like teaching new guys what's the industry is, not just from far where I train locksmith, I talk to manufacturers, I collaborate with owners, small business, I collaborate with big guys. I even hire a lot of them nationwide. But Do you think it is a fear of new technology or is just they are being lazy? I'm sorry if I'm using this
No, I think
term.
I think it's definitely fear. I think, with the way AI is and everything is going,
Yeah,
I feel like that older generation, especially my father's generation, um, I think it's just fear and not so much being open and willing. And, like I feel like, and look at like the car industry, like for us, right? Like those keys are changing every single day. There's new software, there's new key machines, there's new cloning machines. Every single day there's something new. So, if you want to stay up and you want to continue to grow, I feel like you have to evolve with the
you
industry.
gotta evolve. You have to
Yeah.
keep the beat. Yeah, and let me ask you this. You talk your dad did automotive, residential, commercial, big
Hmm.
contract. He has big account. Which industry he operated in brought the biggest cash?
I would definitely say commercial in some of the contracts. Like we have contracts with the hospitals, right?
Yeah,
We have contracts with UMass. That's probably one of the biggest clients.
big. Yeah,
Probably one of probably they probably spend the most at my father's shop. But we have them on so many different key systems, right? So like we just, you lock somebody into a Medico system or you lock somebody into a key mark system. Yeah, I don't want to say stuck, but essentially,
yeah.
once they get
He's the
into it,
dealer. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's just, reoccurring revenue helps a lot. So I would say commercial. I mean, my father got to the point now he doesn't do any automotive.
yeah.
He
That's
doesn't
that.
do any automotive at all.
That's one thing I see. And some guys they don't go on the safe more.
Hmm.
They sell it, but they don't do any repair.
Right.
And for automotive, if they have some younger guy, they will tackle that because dealership, um, private fleet, like company
Hmm.
fleet, like they have these keys they need to make copies of, you know?
Right.
So there's always that opportunity that people can see. But let's switch on another level. Let's say you were recruiting. Let's say you own you
Yeah.
you get your dad
Yeah.
business, and what would be your steps?
I did it forever, man. I mean, before like, you don't see a lot of locksmiths on LinkedIn, right? Like
Yes. Yeah,
you
you
don't. It's just that you don't see a lot of trade. I feel like the trades are growing on LinkedIn maybe a little bit more now.
yes.
Like I'd say in the last year or two than I've seen prior. Um, but like I don't know, I feel like COVID put a damper on a lot of the trades in general.
Yeah.
Um, when I was working for my father and I was doing all the hiring and recruiting, me and my father always used to say the same thing. Like we need to try and find the kid who growing up fixed his bike by himself. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of kid that we need to find. Or we need to find somebody with, a ton of locksmith experience, which is, as you know, very hard to find.
Hard to find. Yeah.
I mean, we talked to North Bennett. I've talked to North Bennett Street before. I talked to a few kids that graduated from there or were soon to graduate from there. Um, I used Indeed a lot. I used Indeed a lot to get resumes, and what would happen is I'd get off a job posting. I'd get like, and this is an unpaid, unsponsored job posting, just a free job posting. I would get anywhere between say like 30 and 50 resumes. Out of those 30 and 50 resumes, I'd say maybe 5 to 7 were a good fit.
Yeah.
And I'd call on those 5 to 7. And out of those 5 to 7, I'd say one or two maybe answered the phone. I left a
Mm,
voicemail for everyone. And I'd say maybe one or two called you back. So say you end up with 4 candidates, right? And then when it came to scheduling an interview, I'd say out of those four, two maybe would show up,
yeah.
and then you're left with two to choose
Yeah.
from.
And I seen this because that's why I'm no longer at the school because
Yeah.
what I told him was education is a service. Is I use education as a product
Yep.
because there was a scarcity on good technician. There's a scarcity on people willing to work because now with YouTube, everybody want to be a influencer, creative,
Of course.
but it's
Even in the gym, I go to the gym every single day.
yeah,
In the gym, there's six, seven people walking around with tripods and their phone hooked up to it. And everyone just wants to be a fitness influencer or TikTok influencer or whatever it is.
yeah. So do you this happened to me. I had when I was at the school, I had email maybe every month I got two or three emails. So I was part of MLA. I'm still part
Yep.
of MLA under my
Yep.
own business. I'm part of Aloha
Yep.
and people reaching out and they were hiring people $14 an hour. Where
Yeah.
I got a guy and I told him institutional is the best locksmith job you can get because they can invest in you unless you have a big commercial opportunity. There's a kid, 19 years old, graduate from the program, straight from high school, graduate to the program 9 months. He landed a job at Brandeis, 80,000 a year.
Oh wow.
So compared to a mom and pop shop telling
Yeah.
him to start at $14 an hour, he
Yeah.
did it. He did it with one of the guy, and the guy messed. You know, I don't think they understood the willingness to learn,
Right.
and they took advantage of it. Where I don't know if that was the case coming up. They stop you at the bench. They start you at the bench. Do
Right.
some small things and
Yeah.
pay you a lot of money.
Right.
But that's not the case anymore. Is there that issue you had finding
Yeah,
out?
100%, 100%. I'd get a bunch of interviews, right? Like we talked about, I'd get those interviews, I'd get two, four at a time. And, people would come in with no experience. Like, okay, they worked in a hardware shop, or okay, they were, landscaping, fixing the lawnmowers and fixing the machines or something
Yeah,
like that. So they were hands-on and technical. So like those were the type of kids we were looking for. But then when it came time to discuss money, it's like, okay, like you can't do the most basic thing. Like you can't even cut a key. Fine, whatever. It takes 2 seconds to learn how to do that. Not a problem. You can't pin a lock. You don't know what a master key system looks like. There's just so what we're gonna
they're
do is
queen. They're queen.
we're gonna start you out. We used to start people out at $15 an hour. So we'd start people out at $15 an hour with no experience.
Yeah,
But we also gave full benefits as well.
yeah,
So like we were paying 80/20 on the benefit side. Um, and then yeah, $15 wasn't a lot of money, but we would tell them, once you can do, X, Y, and Z on your own, we'll give you another dollar or two, or we'll give you, five
yeah,
dollars more once you're on the road and you can go do a job all by yourself and you don't have to call and ask 5,000 questions, or you don't need someone to go on the job with you and ride with you. Um, so like we would try and like set like goals or boundaries, like limitations where, all right, once I hit this goal, I'm gonna get another dollar or two. Once I can do this on my own, I'm gonna get another dollar or two. Um, but everyone that we would talk to would want to start at, $20 an hour, twenty
$20 an
dollars an
hour.
hour. It's like, dude, you don't know anything. I can't start you at $20 an hour.
So, do you think that's where the disconnect is? Because they are, and the reason is, when I was at the school, I didn't have a big budget.
Yep.
So so my program was the smallest program in the whole school.
Yep.
And that means that we reflect also on our budget. So the problem we had was, how can we change the narrative? How can we change the
Well, I think it's
perception?
I think it's tough, right? Because like if you look at some of the other like trades, you can go to a electrical school, you can go to a plumbing school, you can go to a trade school, and now these plumbers and electricians, I don't know if you've ever had to hire one to your house recently, but they are expensive, right? I had a boiler break in my house. It's like some control panel. Guy was there for a day and a half. It cost me like 2,200 bucks.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's crazy. And I think locksmithing in general, right? Like I feel like it goes unnoticed. I think it's underappreciated. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think a lot of locksmiths charge enough. Um,
That okay. I'm glad you get in there because
yeah,
I believe it, and I can compare it with anybody. Actually, I have it on my newsletter. We are the most profitable trade with the longest tenure trade and with the most portable, meaning I can go anywhere in the world
right,
with a screwdriver
right.
and start making money as a locksmith.
Yep. And it's funny you say that too, because my father used to say all the time, if I ever lost everything or if something, catastrophic happened or whatever, he says, as long as I woke up tomorrow with both my hands, I could make more money. That's what he used to say all the time. All the time.
Yeah, you're right, and he's right
It's
because when
it's
I
true.
so we got market study about the industry. It was but locksmith and integrators. So Massachusetts is the second highest paid locksmith behind Maryland
Yeah.
with about $500. I think it's 78,000 something, but Maryland has the highest one. But looking at Massachusetts right now, where yes, the skill is not there,
Right.
but there's no pipeline unless it's the school. And the problem I had with the school, even you can blame me on it, but I was the department chair for 4 years. It's a 9 months program, 900 hours, Monday to
Right.
Friday.
Yep.
And we had people nationwide like come from Kentucky, Arkansas, Denver coming in, but they have to live in Massachusetts. They have
Right.
to leave. So, and you have other courses like Lockmaster or any other manufacturer training. I think it's 10 days. I don't think it's enough to
No.
become a locksmith. And
No, definitely
those
not.
are the things they are offering. 10 days,
Right.
locksmith 101. 5 days locksmith 101, and they only train you on what they learn. So what I'm saying is my question for you, Ara, is looking at this, and we understand that we undercharge. What do you think it will take to get locksmith the recognition they deserve and either make it a
So
license?
So it's tough. I say this about the industry I'm in now. I say this about my industry. I sell commercial insurance. So everyone hates insurance, right? Everyone hates paying for it. Uh, I haven't had a claim in 20 years. Why should I have to pay for it? Why is this? What is that? Whatever. Everyone hates it until they need it,
Yeah,
right? So nobody wants to pay you, you know, $2,000 to come rekey their three decker.
yeah,
But all that it takes is one unhappy tenant or one domestic call or someone to go back. Like I've had to go to court before
yeah, yeah.
over a landlord, dispute over did he change the locks? Did he not change the locks? I had to go sit on the stand for that. Um, that was a long time ago. And um, so like all it takes is one bad mess up or one
Yeah.
mistake
One
or
one claim, one
that's
issue.
it. That's all it takes. And then you need it, right? So can you get away with maybe not changing the locks in your three decker, or if you lost your master key, can you take the chance of, yeah, well, whoever picked it up might not know what it fits. Um, so I don't want to spend, two, three, $4,000 on rekeying all my properties. Can you take that chance?
It's up
Like
to
it's
you.
it's tough.
Yeah.
Um, and I think. I look at some of the other trades like plumbing and electricians and HVAC. These guys are making big money now because there's less and less of them.
But
Let's put that to the locksmith industry, right? There's less
yeah,
and less and less and less locksmiths.
and I went to a trade show and I met two Ivy League students. Their job was to just trying to buy locksmith business.
Just buy them.
But because they did a study and they find out, actually that's what got me that idea to find a market study about the locksmith. Because I said, how do they know about the industry? And I did some search. I'm very curious about these things. And then I found a market study saying laying down the whole industry, the worth, it's about $3 to $5 billion worth. And it's growing to maybe 5%, 3% every year. So now you find locksmith businesses starting franchises.
Right.
So now, if you had to take over your
Yeah.
dad,
Yeah.
your dad business, what would be the things you would do different and why?
Um, I would open or at least put a road guy on for a half a day on Saturday. So my father is strictly Monday through Friday. They offer after hours service, but only for existing customers. You have to have an account with him in order to get 24-hour service. And I feel like that doesn't work for everyone all the time. I feel like we were just leaving a whole market just empty. But that also comes down to getting the help that you need. How hard is it to get a guy to go drive around in a truck and change locks on a Saturday? It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Uh, I would do it. My father would do it because, we cared about the company. But
Yeah.
you go get a kid right out of high school or right out of college and you say, hey, you got to go spend your Saturday morning driving around the city, rekeying houses. They're not gonna they're not gonna want to do it. So one of the first things I would change, and I tried to bring it up to him 100 times before, was let's just open half a day on Saturday. Let's open till 12. That way, that homeowner that does, that works Monday through Friday till 5 o'clock can say, "Hey, Saturday morning I have a locksmith coming,
Yeah.
and we're changing the locks on
And
Saturday."
we're talking about retail too,
Right.
which is a good market to get
Yeah.
in.
Yep. So, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of uncapped stuff there. Me personally, I would have tried my hardest to keep up with the automotive industry, even though, when I was in the industry, everything was changing so much and so fast. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's still like that now. Um, but I feel like I would have tried to keep up with the automotive industry a little bit, maybe hire someone designated strictly to automotive, send them to all the automotive classes, buy whatever automotive tools are necessary, and just have that one person run the automotive department, right?
Yes,
I felt like there was more room to grow.
there is.
I felt like
So,
he was happy with what he did his whole life, and he built a very successful life for, my family. Um, and I feel like he thought he was getting old, and he just didn't want to tackle on anything new, really.
um, so we talk about there is a lot of guys they call me. One thing I experienced was every year I have two or three locksmith, either widow, spouse calling, family members calling because locksmith passed away and they want to sell the business
Right.
because there's no succession.
No succession plan, yeah.
Yeah, so no exit plan. Now, do you think you have the succession plan for your dad or the business?
There is one in place with a current employee. Um, but yeah, no, there's a succession plan in place. That should actually be taking place, I don't know, I think within the next year or two.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you out of the picture.
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
Yep.
Man? That hurt me a lot. You saying that
Uh,
you
okay,
you you have we invested, so he invested in you,
yeah, of course.
and you got the knowledge and you know how
Yeah.
to do it,
Yeah.
and you've been doing it to the highest level.
Yes. Yep.
So why not?
Um, I really enjoy the industry I'm in now.
Okay.
Um, I'm making really good money right now.
Okay.
Um, where and I have a lot of freedom. Um, where I watched my father my whole life. I watched what it took for him to build that business to what it
Mhm.
is.
Yep.
Um, I have two kids of my own. And I don't want to say anything poorly about my father because he was a great provider.
Yes.
I have two older sisters and my mother, and he provided for everyone, and we lived an amazing life. Um, but he was never like a father, if that makes sense, because he
Yeah.
was always
Busy.
working, 24/7 working, 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 working. He didn't go to any of my soccer games. He didn't go, he didn't,
Yeah.
he just wasn't there. Like I played soccer at some of the highest levels as well. Like after college, I played semi-professional.
What? Oh
Um,
man. Wow.
yeah.
Great.
But like he just I want different. I have, like I said, I have two kids. I have a 4-year-old and my son will be 2 in April. Um, and I just, me personally, with the job that I'm in and the money that I'm making and the freedom that it comes with, um, I really enjoy being there for my kids. Uh,
Okay.
so I don't think he's downsized so much. If I were to ever to go back to that and try to grow it to what it was to when he was making real money, um, it would it would take a lot.
Question, Ara.
Yep.
Let's say you find a playbook. Look, that's giving you everything you asking right now.
Yeah.
Do it the right way and
Yeah.
give you that freedom. And give you that freedom to be the daddy probably didn't it wasn't for your kid. I have two kids too,
Yep.
and it's a lot, especially when you're building something and there's no method, there's no like pathway. You creating
Right.
the pathway.
Right.
So if you find that, is it still a no? If you like, and it's a proven playbook to really
I,
do it to the
I
highest.
would I would say for me right now it would be too late because of the succession plan that's already there. Um, I wouldn't want to step on this kid's toes. This kid's worked so hard. He's a really, really good kid. Um, and I'm like I said, I'm happy with where I am. Now, if you had told me that, if I had found a playbook, 5 years ago, then maybe we'd have a different conversation. But just because of where I'm at in my career now and the way my life is set up now, I don't think I would go back. Um, but if you told me that 5 years ago, I probably would have stayed and kept going for sure because I loved the industry.
Yeah. The reason I mentioned this is because we have a prayer book.
Yep.
And that's why we're doing the podcast. The
Yep.
podcast is not just talking about things we wish we could do or talking bad thing. No. What's the game plan
Right.
to do it right? And the reason is, okay, if you ask why, or do you know you do it right? So because we study the people who's doing it right, and we find that a lot of people now they're telling the kids college is an option, but find a trade.
Hmm.
That's why a lot of millionaires are telling their kids. The reason is AI is coming, and my question for you is, what do you think about AI? Is it a threat to you? What do you see in the next 5 years?
A threat to me personally, no. In the industry I'm in, no. I look at AI as more of, for me, a tool.
Mm,
Um, it, I mean, as dangerous as it can be just as helpful, right?
yeah,
So I mean, I use AI. Probably 4 or 5 times a week, just to help me write some emails here and there.
yeah,
Maybe get a little more understanding about someone else's industry because if I'm trying to sell insurance to, a business that I know nothing about or an industry that I know nothing about, like say I knew nothing about locksmithing and I'm coming to you and I want to sell insurance, well, I don't know any of your pain points. I don't know what hurts you. I don't know what keeps you up at night. and things like that. So like I'll use ChatGPT or some AI software for stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think AI could hurt the locksmith industry by any means.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we'll always have over AI is one, a personality, and two, relationships, right? Like you're not gonna build a trustworthy relationship with a computer screen. You know,
Mm,
you
yeah.
who are you gonna call when you have a real problem? You're gonna call AI, you're gonna call your locksmith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't see AI for me personally as a threat. I don't see AI in the locksmith industry as a threat. Maybe in some other fields like account managing for different industries or stuff like that.
Yeah.
That can just be done with a few keystrokes. Maybe those jobs would be in jeopardy. But where I'm in sales and I'm boots on the ground and I'm out there talking to businesses daily, building relationships, being face to face, I don't think AI can compete with that.
So, I work for this company nationwide. They oversees a few, like a majority of retail. So they call it um, commercial locksmith service
Yeah.
nationwide. And one of the client we had, I hire a lot of the guys that's in the subscriber on the Door Handshake newsletter. I used to call them and give them work.
Yeah.
So, and I realized service call is something a lot of locksmith focus on.
Hmm.
And I'll give that example and I'll ask you the question. We, I called this guy for a survey. Say, yeah, sure. Survey the front door. Front door is not locking properly. And he was a Adams right.
Push button.
Yeah, strike not working.
Yeah.
So that's it. He just did this. But I'm like, if it was me, because I'm here in Massachusetts and the job is in Marshall, Texas,
Yeah.
and I will do a full walkthrough in the whole place.
Right.
And if they call me again, I would charge them because I already did the job. But what I'm saying is they just charge you the service fee, service charge, and that's it. Is it something you guys do, or is it something you do differently in terms of site survey?
For a survey, my father's company will go give you a survey for free.
Okay.
No charge for a survey. But what we'll do is, you know, in the price, in the proposal, we'll build in and like say, if you're not local, then we'll build in say an extra service call, right?
Okay.
So like say we charge, I think we charge anywhere to go within the city. I think we charge $75 for a service call just to show up. Um, so like outside, and then further away from the shop that you go, the more the service call costs. Um, but I would say, like, say you were a half hour away and the service call was $95. In your proposal, we'd add in probably a second service call.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's where because there's this guy in Florida. I think they are five or six. It doesn't matter where we call, they will go.
Hmm.
And they probably do well. But me, I'm looking at it on a higher level where you're spending 2 hours driving to that location for, let's say, $250,
Right.
where that 2 hours, if you were on a construction project, even while you're sleeping, you'll make money because they are buying the hardware from you.
Right.
They are buying the labor from you.
Yep.
They are buying the master key from you. And if you're smart enough, you can get some job and sub it out.
Right.
So my thing, that's where the playbook comes in, where we are focused on the small service call and those big job. You don't see locksmith in a
Right.
construction job.
And to add on to that, and we would see it all the time. So we'd go out, say we'd survey a building for a big card access system. electric strikes, the whole deal, electric exit devices, everything. Say it was, it was a 15 or $20,000 job.
Yeah.
But what would happen is, we'd send the proposal, they'd sign it, we'd order this stuff. And then by the time it was time to go do the job, our service like calendar would be loaded with all the small, and I don't want to say stupid service calls, but
Twenty thousand versus a 5 or 6 service call is nothing.
this is not the same, right? I'd rather have one guy on a job all day long that I
Yeah.
billable hours. Now you're talking about driving 2 hours. You're paying for the wear and tear on the truck. You're paying for the insurance on the truck. You're paying for the gas. You're paying for the guy driving the truck.
Yeah.
Where's that $250 going? It's gone.
It's gone just before, and
Gone.
you might be lucky to sell any hardware.
Right. It's gone. Your
So,
property. Yeah.
but now, isn't this attractive for you as an insurance guy, a sale guy, to see a loophole? And or do you, so my question is, or would you sell insurance to a locksmith?
How would I sell insurance to a locksmith?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Depends on the fleet. So me personally, I focus on guys who have fleets of vehicles. So
Mm,
I chase a lot of landscapers. I chase a lot of towing companies. I chase guys who have like minimum ten trucks.
okay.
Um, because in Massachusetts, the auto rate is very high. So that's where all the money is. All the money's in fleet. Um, so I would honestly, if I were to tackle a locksmith, I'd look at their fleet, I'd look at their program, I'd see if they had any sort of fleet management program going. If not, I'd advise them to get one. Um, any safety call, any safety programs that they might do or might have. If not, I provide them. Um, one I just recently had to do was I had to put together a no handheld, like a no cell phone policy
Mm,
for a landscaping company. They didn't want any of their drivers, so they all
thank
had to sign like this contract that I put together for them. So that was cool. So I'd do something along those lines, just more geared towards safety to focus on work comp claims, to focus on your auto and your auto policy and your auto safety, and just make sure your drivers are doing the right stuff. That's really because that's where I'd be able to save someone a couple dollars.
And one thing, not just your background as a locksmith, that I wanted to speak with you on this podcast. Well, also, how important is insurance, and insurance can help you scale your business the right way, attract people,
Yep.
attract new talent, and secure a lot of big contract.
Right.
So, can you? So basically, I'm just giving you the floor to to sell to
Sure.
other guys.
Sure, no problem. I know my father has some big contracts like with USPS. They
Yep.
they require him to have a certain limit on his umbrella policy.
Yeah.
They do. Beacon Community, who's a massive property manager.
Yep.
Uh, Beacon requires, I want to say, a $5 million, if not a $10 million umbrella
Well,
on the locksmith policies. Um, so, those things aren't cheap either. So, as the locksmith, you got to make sure, if you're going to go spend, if you're going to go buy, a $10 million umbrella at the tune of 5 grand a year, 6 grand a year, you got to make sure you're getting that money back. You
but
know,
why is it important to pay that umbrella as a
well,
as a locksmith? Why do you
right.
think it's
Perfect.
important for
Sure. Sure. No problem. So say you got 4 guys on the road, right? And say one of your guys gets in a bad accident. And say your auto policy only has minimal limits because that's what we see all the time. Everyone says, just give me the minimum limits. I want to pay the least amount in insurance as possible. I don't want to pay anything extra. So let's just say your auto policy has the minimum limits and your guy gets into a bad accident, and, say damages, 3 cars in a house, right?
Mm.
Now, your auto policy isn't going to cover more than $1 million in damage, let's say. All right. Now, anything more than 1 million without an umbrella, you're going to have to come out of pocket for. But if you were to have an umbrella, that umbrella would sit over all of your insurance policies, your general liability, your workers' comp, your auto. Um, Also, if you have a D&O or pollution or sexual harassment, any of those, the umbrella would sit over everything. Um, so as soon as any of one of those policies were to say run out or you to hit your limit and you still have an open claim and they're still
Yeah.
coming after you for more, that umbrella is going to step in and cover it
Mm.
anything extra for you. Um, so that's really the sell on an umbrella is just it's just the added layer of coverage for when one of your existing policies runs out on a limit.
And peace of mind and safety, and
Mm.
so
That's
let's
one of our favorite, right? That's one of our favorite questions in the insurance industry is what keeps you up at night?
yeah.
What keeps you up at night? Tell me, please tell me what keeps you up at night. Because if it has anything to do with cost or premium or risk or liabilities or anything like that, that's where you need, a real insurance broker or a real advisor or a real risk consultant to come into your business and take a look and say, look, I think you can do better here, 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 and here, and now you're going to be able to sleep tonight.
So the Door Handshake podcast is not just for locksmith; it's also for integrators, facility managers, and owners. So for these guys, and is there any policy that cover cybersecurity
Cyber,
or
yep,
yeah,
cyber's huge.
cameras? Yeah.
Cyber's really, really taking off. A lot of people for the past couple years I've seen just say, no, I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't want to pay the extra. But with more and more cyber crimes and like AI, like we talked about now earlier, AI can be used dangerously just as much as it can be used to help, right? So I think cyber attacks are going to get worse. A lot of very generic policies will come with a small cyber limit,
Yeah.
might be like 40,000 or $50,000 limit um, already added in. But you can always get an extra level, just like an umbrella. You can always get an extra level of cyber coverage
Right.
that would cover you. I actually had a not he wasn't a client at the time, but somebody who was doing a new build out on a commercial building, and their email got hacked, and he was communicating back and forth with the hacker for months before the hacker got the money. Um, and he, when it came time for the contractor to get paid, the hacker jumped in and sent the email and said, here, this is where you're going to send the wire. This is where you're going to send this. And this guy didn't think anything of it because he'd been talking to this email back and forth for months. Wired the guy like, I think it was like 480 grand.
Wow.
Um, and they went to court. He didn't get all the money back. He got some of the money back. But if he had had cyber coverage,
Mm.
he would have gotten all of his money back.
So for the integrator or facility manager, I think this probably would be more suited for property manager, facility managers.
I think cyber is the best for anyone who's collecting money or
Okay.
sending money.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, property managers who might be collecting money from, say, like one of their online portals where these people can go
Yeah.
pay rent or something like that. Um, Anything along those lines, anything to do with collecting money in an online fashion, I think cyber is crucial to have.
Okay. All right. Let's jump to this. You just mentioned that as a locksmith, you had to go to court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us some more about this?
So, um, yeah, so it was a property in Worcester. This is maybe, let's see, I'm 37 now, so this is probably 12 years ago, maybe 12,
Okay.
13 years ago. Um, it was a big apartment building in Worcester. There might have been like 30, 40 units in it. And there was two vacant units. And some homeless people broke in and they were living there. Um, and They ended up lighting the unit on fire, or somehow the unit got caught on fire.
Okay.
Um, Obviously damaged a ton of the other units. Firefighters came. The water damage was insane. Um, and the big that one of the tenants was going after the landlord for all of the losses and whatnot. And one of the big things was that they were saying that the landlord didn't change the locks anytime someone left. So he didn't change the common entry door. He didn't change the unit doors. He didn't change, the laundry room doors.
Yeah.
But, you know, we had a file. He had an IC system. He had a SFIC system. Um, and we had a file for every single time he changed the locks. Every single time he changed a common entry door, we had a note of it. We had a new cord, new key set up. You know what I mean? Um, so I basically just had to go sit on the stand, almost defend the guy, and say, "Hey, look at this is we're his locksmith. He's used us for X amount of years. Um, Everything in this book is true. Here's the dates. Everything's there.
Wow.
Um,
Really?
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you so now let's play the devil advocate here. Let's say you guys messed up.
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think on an insurance level?
On an insurance level, if the locksmith messed up,
That's a big lawsuit, right?
yeah, that would hurt. That would hurt a lot. Like, so if the landlord were to say, go after the locksmith and say, hey, I called you to go change the locks and you never did, and now people got in and caused a fire, and they were to go after the locksmith.
No, no. Let's say the locksmith did the job, but didn't document it.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be tough. That'd be tough to prove.
really?
Yeah, I mean,
So the reason I'm saying this is because when I teach when I used to teach uh master key system is documentation key record is important.
100%.
Oh. So and there's a lot of guys they just because in Massachusetts you don't need a license to become a locksmith.
Right.
So that means anybody can just
Go
but
buy go buy a truck and put their phone number on Google.
yes. But my thing is there's a big responsibility on it as a locksmith where
Of
you need
course.
to do it the right way. So I'm glad you shared this story about this. So we have a segment called My Life, Your Life, and anything you wish you could change in the locksmith industry. And that's one.
Okay.
And secondly, anything you can't stand locksmith do.
Um, yeah. Okay. If I could change anything in the industry right now, I think just watching my father go through what he's gone through and try to build that succession plan. Um, I think we should be able to, or we should try harder at making the industry more attractive to the younger generation.
Okay.
Um, I don't think it's a very attractive industry. Um, so I think if we could find a way to make it more attractive to get the younger generation more eager to, I feel like the younger generation is very eager to become plumbers and electricians and HVAC guys right now because these guys are making real money and you can go to school for a year, go work for somebody, and then go open your own business.
Yeah.
So there's a certain level of attractiveness to that, right? So I think if we could make the industry more attractive, that's what I would change. And then something that I'd say I can't really, I always had a hard time with, like this is just me personally.
That's why
Um,
I asked you. Yeah.
I I always hated like the Dickies pants and like a polo, right? Like my father was so old school.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I like. Maybe just because like I always felt like I was supposed to be in sales, or maybe I felt like I was just always supposed to be like a relationship or front facing type of guy, but
So you like the Dickies?
I don't like them. No. like I want it to look a little bit nicer. I want it to look a little bit more
Yeah.
presentable.
Mm, yeah, I see, and I'm glad you said that because I'm working with somebody. It's a series we're putting together. So we're
Yep.
doing, and there's my next question after this. The series is yes, it's all about changing the narrative. That's why um I started this with the school. I'm still doing it, but also the uniform is not, you know, like
Even in my industry, right? So let me give you an example. In my industry, you know, my office wants me dressed like very nicely,
yeah,
right? But if I'm going to a new business meeting with a landscaper, do you think this landscaper wants me to show up in a shirt and tie? No. He wants me to feel he wants to feel like I'm one of him, like I'm one of his buddies, you know? So you got to kind of just really know your audience. And I feel like in the locksmith industry, I feel like it's just like I don't want to say dirty, but like, your hands are dirty, you're grimy, you're on your hands and knees, like you're outside, you're
fingers.
moving.
It's like same as a mechanic, you know.
Right. But I just feel like there's a little bit, I think we could dress it up a little bit better.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about van setup.
What is it?
Van,
Oh,
look,
van setup. Yeah, yeah, sure.
I believe there's a strategy on that that can help you make money. I do
Yep.
believe on it, and I experience it too. Why was the van setup for your dad business, and was it organized or not?
Yes, very organized. He did again, just another thing where he was just kind of stuck in his ways. Um, we always had the old Ford Econoline vans, and Um, we had the same racks that we would use in every single van. So anytime we'd buy a new van, we would just take the racks out and put them in the new van.
Yeah.
And then when the Pro Masters came out, we started buying like the Pro Masters, and then the Ford came out with the big Ford Transits.
Yeah.
Um, all the shelving sizes were different. And that's kind of when we revamped it and changed it up. But no, it was very organized. Um, we had a huge book, a binder in the shop so that every road guy knew, all right, in compartment one, you should have four
Van.
RK11s in brass. You should have four RK11s in 26D, four RK12s. You know what I mean? Like this
Yes.
is what should be in every single van. And we had a system and we stuck to it. It worked well. It worked very well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's one thing we are putting a survey on it, a poll. So about like van setup, how they feel about it, and do they think that a good van setup can first the benefits I see is can onboard faster,
Hmm.
where if it's a system that work, the new guys can quickly learn it. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if there's something missing, you can always find it because you know where
Right.
everything should be. And
Exactly.
then you can keep a better inventory because you lose money if you don't have the right
A hundred
inventory.
percent. A
So,
hundred percent.
all right, so we're getting closer to the end of this great conversation with you, Ara,
Thank
and
you.
wanted to know if there's anything you'd like to share with the audience, and if you want to plug your business, so people can reach out to you.
Yeah, sure. So again, Derderian, I work with Cross Insurance. We are a large shop. Again, we insure the Patriots, we insure Gillette Stadium, but we also insure a ton of small mom and pop businesses. And the way I sell Cross personally, I sell it as we have all the tools of a big, massive, worldwide shop. I have all the tools that Gallagher has. I have all the tools that Marsh has, that Aon has. But what comes with Cross is more of like a family feel. You're going to get an account manager that you're going to talk to weekly. You're going to get someone who cares about you, who cares about your business, who understands your business. Where with some of the bigger shops, which I have worked in, you're really just a number. You are
Yeah,
just a revenue number. So Anyone out there, you got a couple trucks, you got some rising insurance premiums, you have any questions, you're going through an audit, you're going through something you're unfamiliar with, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I answer my phone 24/7, 7 days a week. Pretty sure my cell phone's on LinkedIn, so if you need it, it's there
Yeah.
along with my email. And I'd love to work with any locksmiths. Just from being in the industry for so long, I'd love to go see some other people's shops and stuff. I think that'd be fun.
Is it nationwide or just locally for
Nationwide.
nationwide? Okay,
Yeah.
so all our listeners, subscribers on Door Handshake. So I would make sure I have Ara information, and if you wanna secure your business, scale it the right way, have the right policy umbrella for your business, he's the guy to reach out to. Thank you, Ara.
Thank you,
Really
Eddie. I really
appreciate
appreciate
your
it.
time, and thank you for being with us today.
Of course. We'll stay in touch. Thank you.